The Federal Reserve caught a lot of people and investors off guard last week, cutting by a half a percentage point. They even hinted that another cut could come before the end of the year. Joining me now is Michelle Singletary, personal finance columnist for the Washington Post. She's also the author of What to Do with Your Money When Crisis Hits, a survival guide. Michelle, good to see you this morning. So, it seems like a lot of people were caught off guard by that. I think the conventional expectation was that it would be a quarter percentage point cut. It was a jumbo half point cut. What's the first thing we should be doing?
So really, there's two types of people should be excited and maybe a little worried. If you are a borrower, it's good news because it means for many people, auto loans, mortgage rates are going to come down. Although mortgage rates aren't directly tied to the Fed rate, they are impacted by it. Now, if you're a long-term saver or a saver, you're going to see some of those high yield savings rates come down. Not right away, but so you can still lock in some good rates, but they will eventually come down as the Fed continues its rate cuts.
So if this is an encouraging sign, and I'm asking this for people who have been waiting on the sidelines, hoping that the rates would go down, that they could finally get buy their first home, perhaps. How encouraged should they be when it comes to mortgage rates continuing to go down?
Yeah, I think they should be encouraged. Like I said, it's not directly
Yeah.
related to the Fed cuts, but they are impacted. So if you've been on the sidelines, you're thinking, oh, am I going to be able to afford a house? This is good news, but I don't think that people should be like, yeah, let me just go out tomorrow. There's still some fundamentals that need to be in place. You need to make sure that you've got a good down payment, that you've reduced as much debt as you possibly can before you buy a house. So don't just look at the rates and say it's time to buy. You need to look at your entire financial picture to make sure it's right for you. And this is particularly so for people who were inching, just really waiting to refinance their mortgage. I would say for those folks in particular, you need to probably put a pause on it because the Fed has said, we're probably going to do some more rate cuts. And so you need to be patient so that when you refinance, you get the best rate possible.
Yeah, that's very good advice. Just hold off a bit because the rates may be coming down even more. What about inflation? What does this rate cut mean for which way and how fast inflation could go down?
Well, the Fed has been fighting inflation. And so this is a good sign. They're saying, listen, we're seeing the numbers come down. That's a good thing. Now, for different types of goods, it's not come down enough, right? People still have to pay more for groceries. If you're in the market for a car, even though the rates have come down, cars are still very expensive. And so, here's what I tell people when you can't just look at the rate cut and go, yay, and go out there. Look at your financial fundamentals. If you're looking for a car and the rates are still a little high, then maybe you buy a used car or you buy a car less expensive, or maybe you hold on to your hoopty for a little bit longer, and save up, and you can actually pay cash for a car, y'all. And so, just look at the whole thing. People, that's the one thing we ask, should I go buy a house? Should I do this? Listen, if you're carrying a lot of credit card debt, no.
Yeah.
If you still have a whole bunch of student loans, no. Just make sure when you walk into that house and you buy that car that you're in the best possible situation. And if you got credit card debt, this cut is really not going to impact that. You're still paying on average, the credit card debt's around 21 or 21%. And that's really high. So concentrate on getting that debt down. And that's really the best thing for you than just watching what the Fed does with the Fed rate.
Michelle, I wish I knew you and you talked some sense into me when I was in massive debt using my credit cards for everything when I was in college. Where were you then? Last question to you. I know you were, and I just couldn't find you. Last question about the job market. Could this rate cut also improve the job market? Because obviously this will hopefully spur more consumer spending.
Yeah, and so the Fed has been looking at both the inflation rate and also the jobs market. So there was a little bit of cooling of the job market, and that was a little concern. And so the rate cut should help that because businesses are saying, should I hire people? It costs me a lot if I'm borrowing money, but if the cost of borrowing money is a little less, it might encourage them to hire or or fill that vacant position that has been left open for a little while. So I think that this is one of the things that the Fed has been looking at, and hopefully this will make sure that people, that there are jobs out there for people.
Let us hope. Michelle Singletary, thank you very much. Good to see you this morning.
You're welcome.
That was a great interview.
Yeah.
I'm buying that book.